It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's moving! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! Greetings, Mythstorian. What you just saw was a reenactment of the scene most commonly associated with the horror icon Frankenstein. Except this was never in the original story. It's Alive was a Hollywood addition in the 1931 film Frankenstein. The 1823 story by author Mary Shelley is actually a much darker and haunting tale of the soul and science. So without further ado, let's get to it. Frankenstein, or The Modern Prometheus by Mary Shelley. Chapter 1. Hunted by Thine Maker. Surrounded by ice on all sides, somewhere in the frozen north, Captain Walton's ship and crew are stranded. Yet, somewhere in the distance, beyond the polar mists, they see a giant on a sledge led by huskies, barreling through the blizzard and unperturbed by the cold. This Mythstorian was a creature being chased by his creator, a son pursued by his father, a killer hunted by his maker. The giant vanishes into the white. His pursuer, however, needs saving. He found aboard a ship and surrounded by strangers. Battered by the cold, Victor Frankenstein was emaciated and frail. Very soon, he became acquainted with his rescuers and told the captain his story. Chapter 2. Idyllic Beginnings. No human being could have passed a happier childhood than myself. Victor's early life was a privileged one. He was born to parents Caroline and Alphonse in Naples, Italy. They moved to Switzerland, and it's there Victor grew up alongside his two younger brothers, William and Ernest. The family was a wealthy and charitable one. They didn't struggle and sought to help the less fortunate wherever they could. And one day, they took in an orphan girl named Elizabeth, who became Victor's adoptive sibling. He, however, felt no brotherly love toward her. Quite the opposite, in fact. But tragedy struck in their late teens when their mother died from scarlet fever. The family was distraught. But not Victor. He resolved to undo the blight that was death by using science. Chapter 3. It's Alive. Now motherless, Victor threw himself into a life of study and became obsessed with the secrets of creation. Yet he did this at the expense of his own health and ignored his friends and loved ones. Victor spurned everything to build the perfect man. What he crafted was actually a patchwork human, stitched together with different body parts taken from crypts, graves, and other places of the dead. And one night, Victor got exactly what he wanted. He brought all of that to life. And when his creation looked to him, with its white eyes gleaming and yellow skin peeling, Victor gasped. He fled and abandoned the hulking newborn to the will of the night. Chapter 4. You reap what you sow. Victor was in a very bad way. The horror and stress of his work had took its toll. But his dear friend Henry pulled him from the abyss and brought Victor to Italy with him. He soon got his strength back a few months later and returned home. But just as he arrives, he's told his brother William has been killed by Justine Moritz, a servant dear to the Frankensteins. Victor happens to see the creature fleeing his family home as he hears this news, and realizes that it is responsible for the murder, not Justine. But he says nothing. Victor cannot explain what he made. Who would believe him? And very soon, Justine is sentenced to death for the murder of William Frankenstein. Victor's creation has now cost 2 people their lives. The tortures of the accursed did not equal love. She was sustained by innocence, but the fangs of remorse tore into my bosom and would not forego their hold. Chapter 5. Meeting Thine Maker. Guilt and remorse weighed heavily upon Victor's soul. So he journeyed into the Swiss mountains for solace, only to be confronted by his creation, and unbelievably, the creature spoke. "Devil, do you dare approach me?"
I expected this reception. All men hate the wretched. I was benevolent and good. Misery made me a fiend.
He tells Victor what happened following his birth. The creature mastered language, history, mathematics, the arts, and other subjects. Like Victor, he sought knowledge. The creature lived in secret at the residence of a local family and chopped wood for them, but had to flee once they saw him. He tells Victor that he framed Justine and killed William. The creature pleads with his father to recognize his responsibility for him and to make him a mate. He begs him to see that he deserves happiness.
You must create a female for me. This you alone can do, and I demand it of you.
I do refuse it!
You are in the wrong. I will revenge my injuries. If I cannot inspire love, I will work at your destruction.
The creature warns that if Victor does not do what he has requested, that then he'll murder Victor's remaining friends and family. Victor, of course, obliges this request. His hands are tied. What else can he do? Chapter 6. Give Me Love. Victor and Henry once again travel across Europe to the British Isles. But this is not Italia, and Victor isn't seeking to recover. He must create. So Victor separates from Henry and travels to the islands of Orkney in northern Scotland. There, he will build his creature a wife. A ghastly grin wrinkled his lips as he gazed on me, where I sat fulfilling the task which he had allotted to me. But when the time comes, Victor cannot do it. He can't bring himself to make another life. Who knows what road this could take humanity down? Later, the creature who unleashes his rage upon Henry and kills him.
I can make you so wretched that the light of day will be hateful to you.
The creature vows vengeance on Victor's wedding night and says he will return whenever Victor marries.
I shall be with you on your wedding night.
Chapter 7. Wedding Night Blues. Victor and Elizabeth marry, and on their wedding night, Victor arms himself to the teeth. He searches the ground for the creature, but it's nowhere to be found. And that's because it's busy murdering Elizabeth. She was there, lifeless and inanimate, thrown across the bed, her head hanging down and her pale and distorted features half covered by her hair. Everywhere I turn, I see the same figure. Her bloodless arms and relaxed form flung by the murderer on its bridal bier. Victor has failed again. When his father hears the news of Elizabeth's death, he too soon dies from grief. Only Victor's brother Ernest survives. The creature is a monster of Victor's own making, so he resolves to end the nightmare and kill it. Chapter 8. End of the Road. Back on board Captain Walton's ship, Victor draws his last breath. His hunt for his creation has killed him. The creature soon comes aboard the ship to mourn his father. He explains to the captain that he thought Victor's death would bring him solace, but it's actually left a gaping hole that will never be filled. The creature is now truly alone.
I shall die, and what I now feel will be no longer felt. Soon these burning miseries will be extinct. I shall ascend my funeral pile triumphantly, and exult in the agony of the torturing flames. The light of that conflagration will fade away. My ashes will be swept into the seas by the wind. My spirit will sleep in peace, or if it thinks, it will not surely think thus. Farewell.
He resolves to take his own life and wanders off into the frozen north, never to be seen again. Thank you, Miss Dorian, for watching. We hoped you enjoyed this special. why not check our documentary about the god of war in Chinese mythology? Or learn about all the history of the Headless Horseman. But as always, this isn't goodbye. This is just until the next mythical video.